Hello everyone, welcome to the Timber Design module. This module is a collection of short lessons designed to give you an understanding of the basics of timber design. You don't need to be a timber expert, you just have to be familiar enough with the basics of timber design so that you can check if the software outputs are correct or if the parameters that the software is using actually fit your specific project. Sometimes you might have to run some quick hand checks, and that's when this module will come in handy for you. And it will also make things much easier later on when we get into timber connections, because you will already be familiar with all the K factors and all the terms and ideas that we will be working with when designing timber connections. So let's get started. If you go to your engineering second brain, just head to materials and then timber. Let's expand this screen. Design capacities. So the first thing we're gonna see on this page is the table of contents. So every time you want to refer back to a specific topic, you can just go straight to the content. We're going to be designing timber members based on AS 1720.1, and essentially we're going to check any timber member for these 5 cases in the ultimate limit state. So we've got bending, shear, bearing, compression, tension. For a column, for example, or studs, you would probably check it for compression and maybe for bending as well. For most timber beams, we would be checking for bending, shear, and bearing. The web members in a truss, I would be checking for tension and compression. And notice that for every check, we have phi, K1, K4, and K6 in common. And then for each calculation, we have different factors shown in the red color. So what we're going to do in this first moment is to go through all these common factors first. So we're going to go through phi, K1, K4, and K6. Hey, real quick, if you are a structural engineer in Australia or studying engineering, I've put together a free webinar that shows you how I map out and detail connections like timber to steel, steel to concrete, and much more. It's based on an actual timber framed residential project here in Australia, and it's packed with tips, examples, and practical advice. It's free. Click the link and I'll see you there. The first one is the capacity factor phi, which is related to reliability. If you head to AS 1720.1 clause 2.3, there will be table 2.1 in there. So if we expand this table, you can see that we have 3 different categories: category 1, category 2, category 3. So category 1 is for members whose the failure would result in a localized collapse. When we're designing elements in a house, most of the time we consider them as category 1 because there are many redundant structural elements in a timber framed house. For example, the floor frame is composed of a bunch of joists next to each other. A wall framing is composed of a bunch of timber studs next to each other. So if one joist or if one stud fails, it won't be a huge problem. On the other hand, for category 2, the failure of the member could result in the collapse of a significant portion of the structure. That's why the phi factor is less for category 2 than for category 1. In a house, if you are designing, let's say, a beam or a column picking up an area greater than 25 square meters, then that element in specific should be designed as category 2. And finally, on category 3, which are your structures that fulfill a essential service or post-disaster function, which would be hospitals, police stations, firefighter stations, or any other building that would provide essential services. So in summary, we're going to define the material, then we define the category, and that's how we find our phi factor. So for example, if you're designing a LVL beam and it's a category 2, we're going to have the phi factor as 0.9. Just be aware that the phi factor is different for connection design. So if you're designing a timber beam, the beam element will be designed with the phi factor from table 2.1, and the connection of that beam will be designed with table 2.2. So if you expand table 2.2, let's say you're designing a timber beam with M12 bolts, you just come to this column of the table, and then if it's a category 2, for example, you've got a 0.85 factor. Next is the duration of load factor K1. This one is one of the most important that you will have to understand, because it's one of the factors that make timber design unique compared to steel or concrete. And the reason behind that is because the most critical load combination in timber design isn't always the one with the biggest loads. So let's say in steel or concrete, you find that 1.2G plus 1.5Q results in the highest load combination. Therefore, you would design that member, obviously, for 1.2G plus 1.5Q, correct? In timber design is a different story. That's because timber strength depends on how long the load is applied. In other words, a smaller load that lasts longer can sometimes be more critical than a bigger load that lasts just a short time. So let's expand this table and understand this a little bit better. Let's say you're designing a timber beam and the load combination 1.35G, which is a permanent action, is 50 kilonewton meters. And let's say that for wind loads, 1.2G plus wind plus a portion of the live load is double of that, right? Is 100 kilonewton meters. In timber design, that does not mean that the 100 kilonewton meters will be the worst case scenario. Because when you calculate the final design capacity for a load combination of 1.35G, you have to use a K1 factor of 0.57. That means the capacity for that load combination is only 57% in terms of K1. Now the capacity for a short-term load duration, let's say for the wind load combination, the K1 value is 1. So we can use 100% of the design capacity in terms of the K1 factor. What I'm trying to say is that you will probably have to design a timber member for various load combinations, not only the one that results in the highest loads. That's why sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain, but you know, we can use software, spreadsheets, and with time you will get a feel for what load combinations will be the most critical ones, and then you can just pick those ones to do a quick check. So you can either use this table where it gives you the load combinations already, or if you know the effective duration of peak action of the load combination, you can just come here and look at this table. For example, for wind load, it's just a gust of wind, so that's probably around 5 seconds. So that's why we have K1 equal 1 for the strength of the timber, and for the joints 1.14. And again, as you can tell, we've got two columns for the K1 factor. One is for the strength of the timber, and one is for the connections, for the joints. So there are different values. When you're designing a connection, you look at the second column, and when you're designing the actual timber member, you look at the first column. Next is the moisture condition factor K4, which you can find in clause 2.4.2.2. What you have to understand about this factor is that wood becomes stronger as it dries and weaker as it becomes wetter. So dry, strong, wet, weak. We've got different tables for unseasoned timber, for seasoned timber, for LVLs, and for glue lamps. If this is the first time you are hearing the term seasoned and unseasoned, seasoned means that the timber has an average moisture content between 10 and 15%, and you will probably hear people saying dry timber or air dried or kiln dried timber. If you go to Hein and then you go to product control, let's say generic, you can see U and S hardwood, that means unseasoned hardwood, And then you've got KD, which stands for kiln dried. So you've got kiln dried pine. And then for unseasoned, it means it will have an average moisture content that exceeds 25%. Sometimes people will refer to unseasoned timber as green timber. Generally, K4 equals 1 for unseasoned timber. But if the timber is being used under normal conditions of temperature and humidity, and it has time to partially dry until the full load is applied, then you might be able to increase the capacity of that unseasoned timber up to 15%. So you've got a value of K4 equals 1.15. But to be honest, generally I just use K4 equals 1. For seasoned timber indoor in a dry environment, K4 equals 1 as well, because seasoned timber is already pretty dry. So if you keep it in a indoor dry environment, you don't have to modify the strength of that timber with any factor. So we just use K4 equals 1. However, if you put that timber in a wet environment, like outdoor, you will have to calculate the K4 factor. And sometimes it could go down as low to 0.7. And then for LVL, you just refer to table 8.1. And for glulam, you refer to clause 7.4.2. Or you can refer to the manufacturer specifications as well. A common practice among designers, seasoned timber, if it's internal, K4 equals 1. If that seasoned timber is used externally, you have to calculate K4. And for unseasoned timber, we just use K4 equals 1. Next is the temperature factor K6, which you can find on clause 2.4.3. And what you have to know is that timber gets weaker in high temperatures. So if it's wet, it gets weaker. If it's too hot, it gets weaker. K6 is 1 for pretty much most of Australia, apart from this northern part. And you can see here along the coast of North Queensland. And then K6 equals 0.9, because up there in these areas can get pretty damn hot. Now if you go to Hein, just go back to project data. You can see here there's a box saying building in coastal North Queensland, north of latitude 25 degrees or elsewhere north of latitude 16 degrees. What that means is that if you, let's say you untick, you just leave unticked. So you go to advanced design, design anything, go to report, engineering report, just scroll down and you will find that temperature factor K6 equals 1. Now, if you go back to your project data and tick that box and go to advanced design, click on design again, report. Now you can see that the temperature factor K6 changed to 0.9. If I'm not mistaken, most of the houses up in the north, they are made of brick or block work. At least all the ones that I've designed in Darwin, they're always made of block work and they're in cyclonic areas. But you still have to design the roofs, which will be timber framed. So just make sure you use K6 factor for 0.9.